I see, that makes sense. And
Yes.
what about Elvis? I think you're getting
Oh,
along.
yes. Oh, that, yes. Elvis is quite funny. Mm, it's, he's very talkative.
Oh
And
yeah.
yes, and even when he's not saying something, he's saying something. There's always a thought in there, and there's always something funny that he has to say. So yes, I very much enjoy that.
Hi, everyone. It's Candace Craw-Goldman from quantumhealers.com. And this is episode 3 of Animal Talk, welcoming back William and Allison Brown. Hi, you guys.
Hey,
Hey,
what's going on?
Candace.
So, just to recap, we've met the Browns. We talked about how they do some animal communication through Will and with Allison's assistant and asking questions. They've been doing this for how long?
2018,
Yeah, about
roughly.
2018,
Wow.
somewhere around there.
Wow, time flies, doesn't it?
Hmm.
It's amazing. I wonder, have you ever counted how many animals have you talked to?
Hundreds. I
Yeah,
couldn't, I don't have any idea, but hundreds.
yeah.
Right, right, all kinds, all kinds. And so, just to recap for anybody who's just new to this series, in the first episode we met Will and Allison. In the second episode, it was just kind of an audio recap of some channelings of a horse named Hickory. And today, in episode 3, we're checking in with Hickory, who is now living here
Mm.
at my farm. And
Yay.
guess, yes, and guess what, you guys? I actually got to ride him about an hour ago. I only got about another 15 minutes in. It seems like that's all I ever have between other commitments and other things I have to do. But I did ride him for about 15 minutes, and I just can't wait to start today. I have pre submitted some questions to Allison, and I think we can just dive right in if that's okay with you guys, unless you want to say something.
That's
No,
perfect.
let's do
No,
it. I'm excited.
Okay.
yeah,
All right. So now we're going to talk to Hickory.
absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So just get comfortable. Allow yourself to take a couple deep cleansing breaths just to settle the energy and get all connected together. And as you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and begin. Hello.
Hi, Hickory.
Hello. Yes. Oh, I'm back again. Okay. Yes. Ooh. There's more to look at in here now.
Is
Yes.
there
Yes.
more than last time, huh?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
but you remember.
Oh, yes. It's very familiar now. Yes.
Wonderful. It's so good to talk to you again.
Oh, yes. It's
Now that
very
you're
good.
at your forever home.
Yes. Oh, that's wonderful. Yes.
Well, your forever mom is here.
Oh, yes. I felt that on the way over.
Would you
Yes.
like to say hello?
Oh, yes. Hello, mommy. Oh, goodness. I get to do this all over again. So it's a bit exciting for me. I just want to say, oh, how wonderful it is. I know that you talk to me quite a bit about a bunch of stuff, and you're always asking me if I'm okay, or if everything is all right, or if I'm cold, if I'm warm, if I get enough to eat. You're always asking me a bunch of questions, and I'm trying to answer them, but I'm not quite sure if you're quite getting all my messages. So, yes, I'm extremely comfortable. It gets a bit chilly, but I understand. It's just adjusting. So, I just want to let you know that everything that you do, even before you get there, I know, oh, this is going to be fun. Even if you're just there just for a moment, it's okay because any moment that I get to be around you and, oh, all the other animals, I'm excited for.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you, Hickory.
Yes.
So you did mention that it's a little chilly where you are.
Yes.
Chillier than where you were.
Yes.
Your mom tells me that she only blankets you when it gets down into the 20s. Do you need blankets more often?
No, not really. That's even fine because it's interesting. When it gets cold, I actually kind of like it a bit because, well, there's something that happens when it gets cold. Everything kind of slows down just a bit. I get really warm inside. I'm not really worried about the outside, but everything seems to slow down just a bit. I can, well, when I'm thinking about stuff, those thoughts are just a little bit slower, and I'm okay with that. I don't have to worry about all the stuff that's taking place. I can focus, and I kind of like that. I know it doesn't last long, but it's okay. So if mother wishes to put blankets on me at any other point, I'm okay with that too.
Well, fantastic.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing that. What about the snow? Was this your first snow experience?
Oh, well, not exactly. I've seen it before and I've played in it before, but it didn't last very long. This seemed to have lasted a little bit longer than I was expecting it to. So it wasn't. I won't say it was bad, but I was kind of glad to see it go away.
Yes. Were you?
Yes.
Well, due to that snow, that crazy weather, and your mom's schedule, she hasn't been able to spend quite as much time with you or ride you as much as she'd like. Do you understand that?
She does. She talks to me about that all the time. Even here's the interesting thing. She's talking to herself about how she's going to tell me that she really can't spend that much time with me on the way out to meet me. And I already know that because I'm already listening to what she's having to say. So it's interesting because she'll be leaving the house and I can just faintly hear that little voice already wanting to tell me something. And I'm already listening. So I don't know how to say this. It's I don't want to say that she doesn't have to tell me, but I already know. Yes, it's interesting. I don't know if you understand that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We call it telepathy or speaking through the mind.
Yes, that's what I try to do. I try to think my thoughts very loud, but I don't know. Again, I don't know if mommy's getting it all together at once. Yes.
She might be. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see as we go. So she wanted me to tell you that she sees your relationship as kind of a trusted two-way partnership without you having to hide any extreme sensitivity or any anxiety. She doesn't want you to have anxiety.
Okay.
Can we check in with your body? How are you feeling?
Well, everything seems to be fine.
Do you know what she means when she says anxiety?
Well, not exactly, but I know there's times that my tummy gets a bit bubbly, and then from there, I I get a bit the hairs they'll begin to stand up just a little bit because I'm not quite sure what's taking place and I'm not sure what I'm feeling, but it makes my tummy bubble and then yes, then the hairs start to stand up across my back.
Right. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
So when you tune into your belly,
yes,
do you sense any sores, any pain in that area caused by those bubbles in your stomach?
no, no, um, it, so when it gets bubbly like that, then after everything settles down, it's a little bit further back. It gets really warm, and so I don't see anything. I know that it gets really really warm just past the front of my tummy.
Okay,
Yes.
further down
Yes.
in the digestive tract?
Oh, yes. Well, yes. Yes.
Okay. And so would you say that your tummy feels better or worse since your last home?
Oh, much better.
Oh, good.
Much better. Yes. Yes. My mm, so before, just like I hear mommy's thoughts and what she's going to tell me, same thing. I would hear what they're going to do or what they wanted to do or all the things they want me to do, and my tummy would start to get bubbly. But I knew that I had to do certain things, so I just allowed it to be.
Right.
Yes.
That's exactly what your mom was saying,
Okay.
that you would override your own emotional state to do what your caretakers wanted you to do.
Oh.
And so she wants you to understand that you don't have to do that here. She does want you to be polite, and she appreciates how polite you've been so far.
Oh, thank you.
But she wants you to be free to share with her when you're feeling anxious or having any emotional difficulty. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, yes, I think so. I try to, and I'm still getting to learn how to, say things the right way to mommy, and so she understands it, and not just through my thoughts, but just how I'm around her and how I stand next to her and how I look at her and how I'm just I try to I try to make sure that I want to make sure that I know she is, but I want to make sure she's comfortable and relaxed. And sometimes I forget about myself. So I guess I have to think about myself a bit more.
True. Two-way street between you and your mom. How about that?
Yes. Okay.
And there are she says, some gastric supplements that she can give you that might help ease your tummy sometimes. Would you be okay with that?
Oh, yes, that would be fine.
Okay,
yes.
Wonderful.
Oh, yes, I didn't realize that. Okay, yes.
Have you identified any of the things that make your tummy upset like that? What kinds of things make you a bit anxious or nervous? I know that one of the things your mom suggested was that when you leave the others, the other animals, when you go away from them, for example, on a small ride, does that make you nervous?
Well, I don't know if it makes me nervous. So I'm trying to get used to them all, and I'm trying to make sure that, they're used to me. And so I know the longer I'm there, the closer we get. But then there's something that happens when we go mommy takes me up for a ride or we go do something. There's something that I start to think about, that I want them to be with me. I want them to go with me, and I want them to be around me because, I don't know. They get out, but not like this. And so I want them to enjoy all that. So I start thinking about that a lot, and I get a bit distracted by that. So I start wanting I want to be able to get them around me and have them go on walks with me too.
To enjoy the same things you're enjoying.
Yes.
Oh, and so
I start thinking about that, and I don't worry about it, but it just distracts me.
I see.
Yes.
Well, perhaps your mom now understands and she can reassure you that they're okay.
Okay.
She did say she'd always make sure that Elvis or one of the other horses is around when you get home.
Yes.
Is that helpful?
Yes, it's very helpful. I like being greeted like that. Yes.
Oh,
yes.
That's wonderful. So let's talk about this herd integration.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you, what that is?
Kind of, yes.
About you integrating into the family and all of the animals?
Right. I know Mother has talked to me about that and taking it slow. And I just... What I want Mom to know is I'm doing my best. I'm not used to, I'm used to being around others like myself that have a lot of duties and have a lot of things that we have to do. So we all understand kind of our role, but there isn't necessarily a role here. So I'm trying to figure all that out. And then I'm trying to get used to everybody else's energy and how that I can be part of it. And so it gets a bit complicated. So I'm just trying to take my time. And
I see.
yes.
Well, she's pretty optimistic about you and Luna being able to get along well.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yes.
What about Harris? What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, well, it's interesting because it's kind of like, I don't know how to explain that. Even though, well, even though there isn't something between us, well, there's the pen, but like it feels as if there's something that's, well, built up between us, and I'm not quite sure what that is, and I don't know if it's me or if it's Harris, and it's like I can't get my thoughts through, and I don't know if Harris is trying to get his thoughts through, but every time I try to understand and figure it out, it's like, oh, it's kind of like having the barn door closed. I can't see or understand what's going on. So it gets a bit frustrating.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
I guess it's some sort of energetic barrier, maybe.
Oh, yeah, I can see Harris, but when I'm trying to speak or well, just allow my energy to go that way, it's kind of like a big barn door that closes.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I think it's just going to take some time, and I just have to adjust to that. I'm so used to being around so many horses that are doing so many things that we don't have time to worry about all of the little things. And so here, well, there's a lot of little things to worry about, and there's a lot of little things to just think about. Right. And I never had to do that before. So now I'm having to relearn everything.
I see. That makes sense. Yes. And what about Elvis? I think you're getting.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Elvis is quite funny. He's very talkative.
Oh, yeah.
And yes. And even when he's not saying something, he's saying something. There's always a thought in there. And there's always something funny that he has to say. So yes, I very much enjoy that.
And how do you feel about Luna?
Oh, it's interesting because there's something familiar, but I'm not quite sure what that is. And it's like it it it's kind of like looking at yourself.
Really?
Oh, yes. I don't know. There's something very interesting about that. And I can't quite tell you exactly all of it, but right from the beginning, at first, I couldn't figure it out. When I'd look across and I'd see Luna, it it kind of made me feel funny because I wasn't quite sure what I was to expect, but then it felt like I was kind of seeing myself, and I didn't understand that.
Well, that's fascinating.
Yes. And then as time went on, well, it's like there's something very comfortable, but yet I can't quite get there. And I think it's just that again, just more time.
Do you think you have similar personalities?
I don't know. Maybe I never gave that much thought. I've been wanting to just get close. Oh, but then when it's like, oh, it's like when you have a brother or a sister and you get along fine most of the time. But then there's those times that you just feel as if they're kind of, well, I guess getting on your nerves. And you just want to buck at them, or you want to just push them aside. That's kind of what I feel sometimes when I'm trying to do that, and I'm trying to, well, get connected and get close. I just feel that, and so it makes me a bit more stiff and rigid, and I get a little bit tense.
I see. Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I don't remember if we asked before, but can you tell me your past incarnations? Have you always been a horse?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. It's always been horses. Mm, no, but mainly big horses, like the ones that mm, pull stuff and yes, and work on the farm. Yes.
All right. I think we might have talked about that before.
Yes.
So the reason I'm asking is because I'd like you to look back there and see
Okay.
if you see Luna's energy anywhere. Have you guys ever been together?
Oh, well, not quite like this, no. But yes, I see the same. Oh, yes, I see the same connection, like the same energy that's there. Oh, but this wasn't. Mm, oh, no, it wasn't one of the horses I was with. It was somebody else's horse, and when we'd all get together, it was kind of the same way. Oh, but that that particular horse really didn't get along with many, is so it was very difficult to. Yes, and bring that horse in amongst the rest of us because we knew we had to be very careful around it. And so,
Interesting.
yes.
I wonder, do you think that perhaps you're sensing that old energy
Oh,
with Luna now and it's making you a bit standoffish?
oh, it might be. I don't know. I've never thought about that, but it could be. Yes, I don't know. It is. It is like I just. Hmm, yes, I wish I could get closer, but I don't like getting tense, and so it might be. Yes, I've not
Perhaps,
thought about it that way.
right. Well,
Yes.
perhaps now when you talk to Luna
Mm.
or you interact with Luna, you can remember and disconnect from that
Oh,
and
okay.
start fresh.
Oh, is it that easy? Because
It is that
okay,
easy.
okay. Well, yes, and maybe Mama can tell me how to do that, or just remind me that
Yes,
just
yes, she
okay.
can.
Yes, okay. That'll be fun.
Wonderful. And what
Yes.
about Harris? Do you see him back there as well?
Mm. No, I don't see that energy.
So this might
No.
be your first time together.
Yes, I think so.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you for checking on that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So your mom has a question about sleeping.
Yes.
She wonders if you're lying down long enough to get what we call REM sleep,
Oh,
the kind of sleep that really rests you. And there's a certain amount of it that you need each night because it can help you not to be anxious.
oh,
You can get kind of anxious if you don't get enough of that kind
okay.
of restorative sleep.
Oh,
So, what do you think? Are you feeling comfortable enough to lay down to sleep as much as you would like to? Feeling safe and comfortable?
I've not given it much thought. I feel as if I'm getting enough sleep. I don't feel so tired during the day, but hmm, yes, I've not given that thought.
But you do feel safe and comfortable enough to
Oh
lie
yes.
down?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Mother prepares it quite well for me. Yes, I'm very thankful for that. Hmm, I just hmm, hmm. Yes. No, everything is fine. Well, this is interesting. Um, there were times that, and I don't know. Well, I can't tell you how many times, but before there was there were times that there was, I don't know. I guess it would be called music. There was be sounds playing and well, just not all night, but I could hear it and it was comforting. And so that's typically when I would just and I would lay down. And so I'm just getting used to all the different sounds here. I don't hear the music like I used to, but yes, so it might be that.
Oh, wow. So at your old home, you could hear music?
Yes, it was just in the distance a bit, and I'm not sure where it was coming from. But yes, I could hear it, and there's something comforting about it. And
That's interesting. Well,
yes.
perhaps your mom can find a way to music for you at night.
That would be
that
interesting.
would be helpful.
Okay.
That's neat. Well, thank you for that.
Mm.
So one of the other things your mom did was take off your horseshoes.
Oh, yes. I remember that.
How do you feel about that now?
It's a bit different. It's a bit strange. At first I'm not quite sure what to do about it, but then you get used to it. I've never been very long without them, so it's just getting used to that. And it is a different feel, I will say that. And I don't know. I don't have a good answer for that, because I'm still getting used to it.
Right.
Because certain things feel different each time I step on them. So yes.
Right. So maybe we can come back and chat with you later after you get used to that.
Yes.
She did say though that if your feet don't toughen up a little bit or not enough to do some trail riding on rocks, that she has some strap-on boots that she can use for you.
Oh, interesting.
So she doesn't want your feet to get hurt or injured or anything.
Oh, well, she knows best, so I'll let her take care of that. It's when I'm going across the rocks, it's not that it's painful. It just feels different. There's just when you have shoes on, it's like you feel the ground, but you don't really feel what's there. It's got it. How do I explain this?
I think I know.
Okay.
It might be similar to humans. You don't really feel the ground with your feet.
Right. Yes. You don't, you know, you're stepping on a rock, but you don't really feel that you're stepping on a rock.
Right.
If you look down, you know there's rocks, but then your body says, oh, well, I don't feel them, so I guess we can keep going. But now when I feel them, I just have to understand, okay, it's going to take some time to get used to this.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay.
And what about your saddle fit? Your mom says she got a special saddle pad and girth.
Yes. And I know she's still, it fits good. There's just I think some fine adjustment, but I think it's more for mom and how she fits on it more than it is for me. It is very comfortable though.
Oh, good. Yes. That's really good to know.
Yes.
So your mom really would like to take you out and away from the farm a bit more.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
In the near future.
Oh, that'd
be wonderful. Just down to a park or down some country roads or something.
Oh, that would be really wonderful. Yes.
And she wants you to know that your future is a lot of solo riding with just her.
Oh, that'll be wonderful. Yes. I can't wait. Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
And sometimes she might need to put you on a trailer to do that, but you'll always come back home, and she wants to make sure you're aware of that.
Okay. Yes. That'll be fine. I know that she'll talk to me, and I'll know before she even gets to me, and I'll be ready.
Of course you will.
Yes.
All right. One other thing she wants to request of you, and this might sound kind of silly.
Okay.
But I guess most of the time horses use the restroom or the bathroom, poo and pee inside the stall. Mm-hmm. However, she would really like it if you could learn how to do that outside of the stall. What do you think about that?
Again, I know she's talked to me about that.
And the reason she wants to know if that would be something that you could manage is because she could spend less time cleaning the stall and more time with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I've never thought about it that way, but well, I will say that's what I'm used to. So it's been a very long time that I've been doing that. So it's going to take some time, and I'm not quite sure how well. Other than, keeping me out of my stall for a long time, I don't know. I think just more talking and reassuring me about that, and just maybe it is keeping me out just a bit longer to make me get used to being outside and doing that, because it is. Yes, that's how I was raised, and that's how I know, and I have my particular spots, and I get very comfortable with that, and it makes me feel a bit secure that way, because I know everything is in one place. If I'm outside, then it feels a bit odd.
I can understand, especially if that's all you've ever known for many years.
Yes.
But thank you for being open to possibly trying it out.
Yeah, I will try anything. Mommy needs to understand that now that we're together, everything is up to her, and I'm going to do my best to listen and do everything she wants me to do. I know sometimes I can be a bit of a handful, but yes, I'm trying my best to, well, relearn things, because there's so much, well, there's so many fun things to do around, and I want to be able to do those with mommy.
Right. Well, she certainly didn't describe you as a handful. She told me how much she absolutely adores you, and she wanted you to know that.
I feel that. I feel that all the time. And even, well, I know she knows this, but even when she wants to come out and she doesn't have time to, I can feel that she's already there. She's already with me, and she's doing things in the house. I know that, but she's there with me, and I feel that. So I'm okay with that.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yes.
Well, while we have you and before we close, do you have anything that you need your mom to know, like maybe any special treats or anything you want more of or less of?
Well, just more treats, of course, because anything sweet's good. And any of the, yes, there's something interesting about having a treat or an apple or something that's where I don't feel like I have to do something for it. It's just, here you go. This is for you. And there's something so wonderful about that. Before it was, well, here, you can have this, but now you got to do this. And it was always for something. And I was okay with it because I knew that's what I needed to do. But now there's something very relaxing about that. And so any treat is fine. I enjoy it. All the food is good. Well, mother knows how much I like my scratches and my brushing. So I can't ask for more of that because, well, she'd be out there all night doing that. So I don't know. I don't have anything that I really need any more of. This is like, I don't know. I don't have all the words for it because it's everything I've wanted and more. And now, well, here we are. And I just have to take time to take it all in and get used to everything.
Did you have any idea when we spoke to you before the auction that this would be your new life?
I sensed some things that this is exactly where I needed to be, but there's a lot of things that take place during those things. And there was mother, and there was two others that felt right, but with mother, it just, if you had to stack them all up next to each other, like bales of hay, well, mother's was nice and tall. So I knew that's where I was going to go.
That's fantastic. But I know you didn't want to get your hopes up.
That's right.
But we all were rooting for you.
Oh, thank you.
And I hope that one day I can actually meet you in person.
Oh, that would be so wonderful. Yes.
That would be.
That would be.
Well, Hickory, it's been such a pleasure talking to you. Before we close, is there anything at all that you need to tell your mom?
I just want to tell her how much I love her. I know she tells me all the time. She gives me big neck hugs, and I love that. And I just want to say thank you for all the things you do, because you spend so much time with me. And I don't know. I don't have any words. That's all. Yes.
Well, it was such a pleasure, Hickory. Thank you so much for coming in again to speak with us.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome back.
Goodness.
A lot of love there. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It was so cute.
You've always got the personalities down. It's interesting because on the outside, from the sale videos and the photos and everything, this horse seem, and he is, because he obeys. He's so polite and he obeys so well. He's rock steady, but underneath, he's very sensitive. He's very sensitive, and the way that you speak for him really describes that a little bit. I mean, he is not laid back.
There's a lot of energy.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is in. I'm like drenched in here in the shirt because there's so much energy and so much heat and just so, yeah. So
sometimes I feel like I'm on a rocket ship, and I'm like, I can feel it very much so. And I'm like, okay, rocket ship, we're just kind of walking here because today, and I did ride him for about 15 minutes today, and it hasn't been that many times, maybe a dozen, maybe 15 times that I've even been able to get on him, just with all of the things and the weather and everything. And so it's not like we haven't gone fast, but I wait until he's not like this. And he isn't really, I almost was waiting for you to use the word tight because, horses, he did talk about his hair and everything like that. They get kind of tight and they don't really breathe. And what was really fascinating today was he went almost the whole ride, and as far as we've ever gone away from the barn today, really great. But on the way back, he started to get a little tight, and he wanted to run back, and which was or run back. I don't know. That's not even the right thing to say. He would have had plenty of energy. Let's put it that way. If I would have said, "Okay, let's go," but I'm not there yet with this horse. I haven't been on him long enough to. Yeah. Plus, it's like a swamp. The ground is still too wet to do anything like even figure that out without fear of losing footing for him. And even though I've watched him do it out in the pasture and paddock on his own, he that's different when you're in your 60s and you're on the back of a horse that's doing that. So I safety is paramount, of course. I'm going to take care of myself.
That you describe it well. There is there is that sense of energy burst that's just right at the surface.
Yes.
And that's what I felt the whole entire time. It's like right just below the surface. That's just, and it's giddy almost. It's like just wanting to release. And
But he's never once pulled on me or said, I'm going to go do that anyway. And some horses who are either rude or not as polite as him might do that. And then you might have to do the things that you do, usually circle and everything. He's so darn polite. I have a little story to tell you about that because this is crazy. I moved Luna and Harris from one paddock to another. It may have been, and this was a while back. This may have been about six weeks ago or so. So this wasn't just recently. But I moved them. He saw me move them. Elvis was with him, so he wasn't alone. He was watching the whole thing. But the horses went from one place where he had known them to be to some place that he had not seen them really go before. And he was watching that, and he was running the fence about it. And he was running the fence, and okay, but he kept doing it. And I thought, well, two things. I'm gonna move you closer so that you don't have to run, and I'm going to take you closer to the other horses. But I also don't want you to wreck over there. And I also, that was the pasture. That's my grass. Every time he'd do a sliding stop. I don't know if you know, like the reining horses and all that sliding stop. And he was doing all this stuff. And I'm like, you're tearing up the ground. I'm going to go get you. So I put on the halter and rope on my shoulder, and I went out there, but he's still going like a rocket ship. And he saw me, and he kind of stopped. And this is the first time I'm ever, since having him, approaching. He's just been like racehorsing, He didn't move a muscle. Once he saw that I had the rope and halter and I was coming to get him, I have never in my life had a horse like that. The instant he saw what I wanted, even though that energy was still in him, he stood stock still. And I'm like, holy smokes, never had a horse like that. And I walked him like to the other place, and other horses like Luna, for sure, she'd have yanked on me a little bit, and I'd have to circle her or make her back up or kind of say, come on now, don't be yanking me around. That's Luna. Not all the time, but if she's excited, she can get that way. And he was excited almost out of his skin. Absolutely polite, beyond just astonishing. So much so that I closed the paddock gate that leads to the pasture, because I on the way there, And he did the whole thing, which is went through the gate and he went, okay, this is where we turn around and help you by facing the gate so that you could, I mean, it was just astonishing. I know he was doing all of that while having that energy in him. And that I can't even tell you. I've been around lots and lots of horses in my life. I've never been around one that had so much energy and yet was so completely polite.
All business when it needs to be, but childlike any other time.
Yeah. And, you know, I can see how cowboys would really like that and how and why he was trained that way and to do some of the cowboy things, especially competitive. I don't know if we talked about this before, but for those who may be just coming into the story, I actually bought him through a fella who trains and resells horses. So this last fella who had him wasn't like his real owner. He was going to a place where he was going to figure out his next owner, right? I mean, primarily. But the fella who had him before was a healer horse. He was a healer horse for. What is that? So in the rodeo, when they do team roping, you know how there's two fellows who go out and rope the calf or the steer, the calf roping, I guess. One hits the head and one hits the heel. Hickory was a healer horse.
Really?
So yes. So think about if you've gone to any rodeos at all, when they back those horses up into those boxes like that, and they're like, until like, you know, the flag goes down and they let the calf out and then they go like this. So that energy, you know, that's just, that's him.
Wow.
But he's always behaved, right? He's always like, I have to, if you're telling me with the bit and the reins that I can't go anywhere, even though it feels like a rocket ship, he doesn't go until you tell him.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was so moved when he talked about his the treat, and I always had to do something, and then I got a treat, which is okay because I was going to do it anyway. But it's just so hot. He goes, it's so nice to just get a treat for no reason.
I'm doting on him, and I can tell he hasn't really. He's for sure been a man's cowboy's horse. His 12 years for sure.
Yeah.
I'm almost certainly his first woman rider and one who wants something different from him than the other fellows. And thank you so much. And particularly the part about the tummy bubbling, because I probably will put him on a supplement that is helpful for that. There's a certain oil and I mean, it's not a medicine. Believe you me. I mean, you guys know me, and probably my audience does too. I'm not going to give him like an acid reducer, which some people do, and I'm not going to go there. But it's more of a herbal and an oil supplement that'll assist, and some magnesium, which is good for people too for that department of relaxation.
I mean, it would be if the horse, you know, if he was out and had a big field to be in, he'd find that naturally somewhere.
You would think, if he had it, if he could roam. Oh, speaking of being out, you know, I don't lock him up in a stall. I mean, I have, of course, and I did it first, you know, especially when I first brought him home and then I let him out. But primarily in my barn, the way what I have is they have a stall they can go in at any time. And then a paddock of various sizes, depending on who or what. So he doesn't get locked up in a stall overnight or anything like that. When you were talking about the pooping and peeing in the stall, I want people who are listening is like, no, I don't put him in the stall and close him in and say, please don't pee and poop in there. No. But because this is the kind of horse that I've actually watched him walk from that end of the paddock, go into the stall, pee all over the place in the stall, and then go back out. And I'm like, oh my God. You know, I mean, I've had horses and horses in my life. I've not had one that like takes an extra trip.
He knows where to go.
To go back to his stall just
That's home.
To your poop in it. I know. And he's like, oh my God. Yeah. And I've spent so much time cleaning his stall that I thank God Rio didn't do that.
That's funny.
You're going to try to unlearn. We'll see.
Right. Yeah. And that's really interesting too. They're always so busy doing their tasks that the smaller things, and you know what? I had a sense of that. I had a sense like he finally has time to focus on some things that he was too busy possibly to focus on before. So now that he's focusing on him, he has to recalibrate. That was fabulous to hear.
Well, hopefully he and Luna also can become better friends, and then eventually he and Harris. But
yeah, well, I knew this even before coming in. Even the cowboy who sold him to me, he said in a mixed herd. So out in the wild, although the stallions, of course, the stallion has the herd of horses,
Mm-hmm.
and there's stallions who will challenge each other for leadership.
Yeah.
But really, it's kind of like just like in the lion world and everything. It's up to the lead female to be the horse herd leader. But that's never been that way at this farm. Rio was the leader from the beginning, and both Mama Bell and Luna Bell tried to change that, and Rio's like, forget it. I know that mares are supposed to be in charge here, but sorry, not here.
We're breaking the mold.
Exactly. And so one of the things that I think's going on with Harris is here comes, of course we lose Rio. And then here comes this other gelding in, and it's almost like Harris is like, this is my chance to be the leader over the mare and like Rio was. And Harris is 20 now, so he's getting, once they get in their 20s, they're senior horses. But and I also think he's feeling a little possessive of Luna. So there's that whole dynamic there, but it was great to hear the words attached to it. And I think I'm taking the long, slow route to herd integration. And
that was interesting when he says he's trying to talk to Harris, and it's like, nope, close the door.
Yeah, and that's true because Harris was in a big field of other geldings when I got him, but that's so long ago. He's very far away from that. So,
little Elvis just trying to hold down.
Oh God, Elvis. Elvis, I wish I had two of Elvis. He's just so great. Although he has been diagnosed with Cushing's, and he's always been a little rotund, shall we say? And so right now, Hickory being so lean and he can eat all day long, and I can't really let Elvis eat as much as. So while I am fine and great with them being together and they get along great together and all of that, I have to sometimes contain Elvis or really separate him by little paddocks and stuff, because he can't eat as much as Hickory, or he could actually, get inflamed hooves, and that could be not only dangerous and painful, but it could be deadly, right? So I have to really pay attention, because now it's this. They all do though. Luna, Harris, and Elvis are all I call them my fatties, and then Hickory's my lean one, and that I had that with Rio too. So I'm not used to that. But one of the reasons I was asking about the herd integration and the REM sleep is I really kind of wondered if he wasn't integrated, because in the wild, what happens is, in general, with a horse herd, you will see a few horses laying down and sometimes even sacked out and getting their REM sleep, while a few horses are standing watch. And so a lot of those horses need to feel safe and protected, that there's someone watching out for them. And if I'm having to keep, even though he's right there and he can see them and all that stuff, if I didn't know if he felt like they were keeping watch for him enough for him to have his REM sleep. So I was happy that he said he didn't feel tired, but horses can get anxious and who has the best video about this is your friend and mine someday. Warwick Schiller has a video of this about a horse that it was an anxious horse who they would go places, and the woman talked a lot about how anxious the horse was. And in the clinic he was doing, she mentioned to Warwick that she had never seen him lay down. She'd had him for a number of years. She'd never even seen him lay down. Now, I happen to have some Ring cameras up, and I'm paying close attention to a lot. Even when I'm trapped in the house, I can see, well, what are you doing while I'm doing whatever I'm doing? And so, and because it has history, I can scroll back and I can see and I can tell how much he's been laying down. And in Warwick's video, he was mentioning about this lack of REM sleep contributing to anxiety. And what was fascinating was he was doing some exercises and getting the horse to trust him as a watcher, because the horse hadn't done that. That horse kept looking for another horse to be his watcher. Do you see? He didn't ever want, he could never be completely comfortable because he wanted somebody to be a lookout for him. And he hadn't yet felt that a person could do that. Wow. And so, of course, that's what I'm trying to do, of course, with Hickory. But in this absolutely fantastic, and I'll link it below for you people who care, or horse people, I'll link Warwick's video below. In the clinic, while they're doing some stuff in, like with an audience and people doing some stuff, this horse lays down, sacks out, goes to absolute REM sleep with an audience. People were walking around doing all this stuff, and his owner was just like, and he did it like twice. And Warwick has the best story because the horse finally went, oh. Yeah. Right. And that's what I want Hickory to do. And he does it a lot, but I have moments where he wasn't doing that. But you were speaking for him, and he was saying, see, it was in beautiful words. Allison, you tell me if it sounds like it. He was saying, letting the other ones come to. He was wanting to attach to, he's like, my herd, horses are such herd animals. And it's always been my thinking that when people get a horse and that horse doesn't have another horse, it's really hard on them. And sometimes you can get away with a goat, or for the longest time, I had Elvis, Rio and Elvis. They were absolute fabulous together, equines. That was a herd. Those two were a herd, no problem. But a horse alone is not usually a very happy horse, even if on the outside they're behaving and they're doing all the things like that. If they miss that, it's so much a part of their whole makeup,
their instinct. Yeah.
Right. So when you're saying, when he's out, I think all of a sudden he thinks about he's like, why aren't they with us too? And in a lot of cowboy events, think about it. They go to an arena, there's horses everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere. And it's a different kind of herd that's doing all kinds of other things, but he never wonders about watching out for very much, because there's so many horses there watching out for him, right? Rather than a horse being alone with a solitary human or other things like that. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, that's my perspective of that.
And he explained it in such a beautiful way that he wanted them to be able to, participate and enjoy the things he was enjoying. And
I think he really does know he's the only one going out. But see, here's the thing too. And, hopefully we can check in again later, maybe even after we start talking to another animal with a series. But what I would love to do is, they call it ponying. I would like to ride Hickory and take Harris with a halter along for exercise, but he has to have a halter and a rope. But right now they don't get along well enough where again, a cowboy would be like, just give me the halter and we'll make them do it. And you know what? I bet they would. I bet they both would.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in, like I said, pushing and forcing things. I would rather, here's another Warwick thing. I would rather ask a question that the answer will be yes all the time, rather than forcing them, and having it not be.
Yeah.
Or the answer is, I guess, under duress.
Right. Or, and this is another thing, a lot of them will, they will do something that they're fearful or anxious of doing, I'm not necessarily saying Hickory's doing this. I'm talking about some other horses. And then they'll just learn that the way they don't over fry their nerve endings is they just come inside and they just become kind of shut
off. Yeah.
And yeah, shut down. And even when he was here the first 5-6 weeks, he didn't look at me in the eye for long, only for a moment, and no Nick. Now that's all completely changed. We look at each other in the eyes a lot, and he nickers to me all the time. And I know, and I think some of that is the shutdown cowboy thing. And anyone who's listening, please know I'm not saying that I think that these cowboys mistreated this horse. Not at all. It's just a different attitude. They use a different kind of bit. They use spurs. I never have ever used spurs. I don't want to use spurs. A lot of people laugh at me and they think that's funny, that spurs are just a fine tuning instrument with a horse. I'm like, I wouldn't want to have bits of metal in my belly. Sorry. So I'm going to do it a different way. And same with the bits. I've got a much nicer bit in his mouth than he probably has ever had. And it actually has, it's actually soft inside.
I have to tell you, this is interesting. So I work in a school of grades 6 through 12.
Yeah.
I never read Black Beauty in school. And I noticed that my middle school English teacher had a class set. So I went in there and I grabbed it and I read it, and it was unbelievable. I had no idea. I learned so much about horses, and it never dawned on me how many different caretakers they can have and different responsibilities and just run the whole gamut. So it was, for anybody who hasn't read that and you're interested in horses, that was really amazing. And I remember her talking about the bit and things like that. So, I mean, I didn't even realize there was a difference in any of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But the woman who wrote that, I don't know if you're familiar, but she had to have been, I don't know, telepathic with her animals or downloading this information to be able to come at it because she speaks as the horse.
Right.
I mean, that book and that author is just amazing.
Yep. Yeah, but there's a reason it's a classic. I remember little girls, 8, 9, 10 years old, carrying around that book and reading it over and over again, sort of like how Harry Potter's so fabulous and beloved today. That was Black Beauty, mostly with girls. I mean, that's something we haven't asked about before in this situation with the horse collective or your collective, Will. I don't think is what is it about girls and horses. My friend Templeton Thompson's a country and western singer. She has a whole song called that.
Girls and
What is it with girls and horses? Yeah, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Well, and the playing of the music thing, I kept wondering what kind of music. Will, if you remember this part, he was saying at night sometimes hearing music would help him relax. I wonder if when he was telling you that you got a sense of, I mean, my guess is, down there in East Texas, it was Northeast Texas. Or certainly country, but I wonder if I can't get some music out there and help him.
That would be interesting. That's interesting that. I mean, have you ever heard of that before? I mean, is that
never?
Wow.
I've heard because I'm sure you've heard of. I'm sure because you probably talk to cats and dogs more than any other creatures, is my guess. But I bet a lot of people talk about leaving music or TVs or other things on for their pets, and certain ones. I mean, there's actually cat channels or cat videos that have birds and other things,
fish and all kinds of stuff.
They can watch, they could do all that, and so it seems, I don't know about what
this sounded like. It was just coincidental that somewhere in the neighborhood or the next door neighbor's farm or something, there was music playing frequently enough that he learned to fall asleep to that.
Oh, wow.
In the evening. It wasn't that I didn't get the impression that the caretaker himself was playing music.
Isn't that interesting? No, that's right. It was like a radio coming on from the house or something.
Yeah.
From down the way. So, but what would be fascinating is if I managed to figure out how to play something, and then I watched the Ring camera and saw that it made a difference. Yeah, saw if it made a difference. And why not? If he's that sensitive, which he absolutely is incredibly sensitive. Yeah.
They might end up having a party down there. Depends on what kind of music you play.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was so amazing. I want to thank you so much. This has been such a joy. Absolutely. And I think really fascinating to get some sort of chapters, for people out there who can see how incredibly talented you are, Will, and really, really gifted. There's a lot of animal communicators out there. I've been speaking to them for literally decades, and hands down, nobody even comes close to you. Nobody. Thank you. But at the same time, I want to invite other animal communicators to come visit and join our community. We would love to have more animal communicators. I would love to have a round table of animal communicators to share notes and etc. Right. And see where we can learn from each other and the kind of things that are in common. I consider myself a communicator with my own animals, not so much with other people's animals, unless it's an accident or on occasion. But I'm not billing myself out for those services. But Will and Allison sure do. So those of you out there, if you've got a need, something you want to talk to your animal about, I don't know. Here's one, even though I'm not talking to them right now about it. I got a dog. My dog, Gracie, doesn't eat enough. I think she just simply needs a different kind of food. So I'm already doing the communication. I don't think that she has a thing wrong with her belly. But, if I was a person who was very focused on that and I needed that answer, this is the person. I don't know if I'm pointing in the right direction. For me, it's over this way.
Yep.
This is the person you need to contact because some of these mysteries can get solved like that. And yeah.
Well, this is definitely a fun series. It's fun to watch Hickory's progression. And now we've talked to him being settled in after having known him before the auction, before we knew whether he was going to come to the farm. And, the whole thing. So that was fun. And we hope to, I guess, talk to some other animals and have a series or a few episodes of their life and how they're adjusting.
Absolutely. We'll figure out how to do that. So stay tuned for the next episode of Animal Talk with Will and Allison Brown and myself, Candace Craw-Goldman from quantumhealers.com. We're really glad that you joined us today. Yeah. If you would like to book Will and Allison, you can find them at
palmandlotus.com.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And of course, they have a listing on our directory listing at quantumhealers.com. And if you're looking for a quantum healer of any kind, or if you are a quantum healer of any kind, come on over to quantumhealers.com. Yeah. Thanks so much. Okay, till next time. See you guys.
See you guys
later.
Thanks everyone for watching.